WCB Podcast, your source for all things Chicago Blackhawks and everything hockey. With your host, Jarom and Tanner.
Let's do it.
Jarom and Tanner.
I have to play a little too long.
Oh, you're good. I'm just laughing at the fact that McDavid and Draisaitl are just a +3, and they lead the league in points. Both of them +3.
Edmonton, baby. All right, welcome to another edition of the WCB Podcast. It's Jarom, it's Tanner. What's up, bud?
Nothing much, man. Just enjoying some Hawks W's.
Kinda.
I mean, it was
We got
a
one
weird
more.
week.
We got
Yeah,
one more.
It was a streak. The wins became a streak.
We did have enough to call it a streak, and then it came to a screeching halt in just one of the more of like, what the fuck is going on moments against Seattle.
Yeah. The plane was flying high, and then it went over Seattle and got shot the fuck down because
Dude,
man.
Like I was telling you before we started recording, like I didn't get a chance to watch that game, but I'm like sitting here. I was like sitting there getting like the text from you guys about it, and then the notifications from the Hot app. I'm just like, what? Like you think the world was coming to an end the way you two were like, what is happening? Like you're like, are you guys watching this game? ... What is happening? Like followed up, like it was just so funny.
Weird.
But yeah, so we'll jump into it real quick. We are at the halfway mark for the Hawks season. So we're going to do a little bit of a recap there. We have Toews been sitting down with NBC Sports Chicago talking about his future. So kind of want to touch on his comments a little bit. Then we will transition to NHL Talk again with some more halfway mark, gives out some awards, some storylines, some surprises for us, and go through some hockey news. I said hockey really weird there, but okay.
Yeah.
All right, so first up, the Blackhawks took on the Colorado Avalanche, and this was a game that I thought was going to be. Feel like this has been the theme for the year for the Hawks. They face these teams that should be doing better, that are struggling.
Yes.
And the Hawks come on their schedule, and you think that it was going to be, okay, here's our time to turn our season around. The Stanley Cup DVD, what was the moment that turned your season around? Kicking Chicago's ass.
That's never the thing. It's usually like a hard fought win, not like a
But
this will be easy.
But that's the kind of mentality I have going into these games, like against these teams that are struggling. And it's like, here it comes. This is gonna get bad because these teams are gonna destroy us. And it hasn't been the case this year. Like,
I mean, I feel like it's a different situation for whatever reason facing the teams in the West that should be doing well. Like the teams in the East that are doing well, and you're like, oh, they're going to kick the shit out of us, and then they do.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the teams in the West that like you're like, oh, they probably beat us pretty badly here, and then they don't. Like there's I feel a huge gap between the top teams in the West and the top teams in the East. And I just watching games like this is just goes to show like whenever I think the first game we were playing Boston, I was like, how many goals do they score against us today? Because they're insanely good. And then they put up like 6. It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. I thought we were going to a little bit more of a fight out of Colorado than we did. But I mean, it was a close game. 3-2. Blackhawks came out with the win to give a 3-game win streak. Sam Lafferty gets on the board first for the Hawks within the first 5 minutes of the game. And that meant 6 consecutive games that the Blackhawks have scored first.
Weird.
Up until that point, they only scored first in 6 games out of the 34 other games that they played up to that point.
Oh, really?
They only scored first 6 times. So I don't know what was going on with them that week.
It's that Lucas Reichel effect.
I guess so. Evan Rodriguez tied it up about halfway through. McKinnon with his assist. He's just been on a mission since coming back off from injury. Second period, quick goals for the Hawks too. Second period, about a minute 44 in. Anthony Ciu gets the Hawks on the board, make it 2-1. And then again, halfway through the second period, Cale Makar puts up a goal to tie it 2-2. Cale Makar is back. He, especially his last game against Boston, like he was kind of like, oh, he's having not great of a season. He's finding his game again. He is
Oh man,
reminding how fucking good he is. And then the
yeah, he's solid.
third period, Taylor Radish puts the Hawks up 3-2. And then I forgot the time mark on Colorado's goal that eventually got waved off for goaltender interference. But this again, this goal to me, I don't know if you saw it, right? Or like
No, I'm in the blackout area of Colorado.
Did you see
I
anything
get
about it or?
no, I get blacked out for Arizona and Colorado.
So I think it was McKinnon got pushed into Mrazek. And as he's going down, he goes into Mrazek. Mrazek turns and I forgot who on Colorado puts it in. They waved it off.
I feel like I saw that it was 3-3 briefly, and that Evan Rodriguez had scored.
Evan Rodriguez. Okay, so Evan Rodriguez puts it in to tie it up. They eventually challenge it and overturn it for ruled goaltender interference. But I don't know. Like, this continues the debate on what is goaltender interference, because this situation was a Blackhawk pushing a Colorado Avalanche player into the Hawks goalie, causing him to get pushed out of play, and there's a goal. And it's like I would love to know. I would love to know like the clear definition of the rule, like what's goaltender interference, what is it? And it's like it doesn't seem to ever change. You're always questioning.
Yeah, it's like I feel like they never put into the fact how did the guy get in, hit the goalie, as part of the thing that's did he hit the goalie? Yeah. Did he mean to? Sure.
Yeah.
It's a weird flip the coin kind of thing.
I was always under the impression that if the defensive team pushes the player into their own goalie, it's fair play.
Yeah, that's why that would make so much sense. Otherwise, you just have guys shoving players into the goalie the whole time. I don't know. It's weird. It's what I'm trying to figure out right now too is I'm looking at the stats of the game, and it has 3 stars of the game. Peter Mrazek, that makes sense because he had 31 saves on 33 shots. Sam Lafferty, okay, I guess because he scored first. He only had 1 point. Yeah. But then Jake McCabe is one of the stars. And if they're in order, he's at top. So is he number 1 star? He was no points and a -2.
1 shot on goal, 5 hits, 5 blocks, 20 minutes and 9 seconds of ice time, 4 minutes and 4 seconds of shorthanded ice time.
I'm just I didn't get to watch the game, so was Jake McCabe just stellar out there? And but for whatever reason, he also he was on the ice for both goals against. And but it's still he still deserved a star of the game.
I couldn't tell you. I could not remember why he would have even been considered for a star.
Maybe they're trying. I also heard that they're trying. There's a group of people trying to get Jake McCabe to go to the All-Star game.
Amazing. Deserves it.
He's the only plus player on the Hawks. I don't know if that's true still, but he was.
No, he still is. I think he's a +4 right now.
That's also really surprising considering the Seattle game.
Yeah, so Hawks won that game 3-2. Like we said, Mrazek played pretty good. It was his first start in 3 games since kind of Stalock just kind of ran with it, the net, and all that. He stopped 31 of 33, 939 save percentage. It was 5 for 5 on the power play or penalty kill. No power play goal scored this game. Both teams go big goose egg.
Which is so wild to me that Colorado doesn't score on the power play. That should just be an automatic goal. Yeah, it's basically their power play. I feel should be on the same level as McDavid and Draisaitl in Edmonton.
100%. So yeah, then you go into Saturday, and it was one of those games, man. Something's got to give. You had the Seattle Kraken on a 7-game winning streak. You had the Blackhawks 3-game winning streak. 2 Goliaths of this league right now.
Yeah. Also, Seattle finishing up their 7-game road streak in Chicago, and they just won 6 games on the road in a row.
They come off of shutting out the league best Boston Bruins 3-0, which not many teams have done this year.
And I mean, Boston hasn't even lost at home. And was that their first home loss
That'd be the first, I think, home loss in regulation.
in regulation? Yeah.
Yeah. So Seattle is no joke. And
They're just clicking, man.
I missed this game. So
Oh,
you apparently
I
missed a lot.
I missed parts of it because I turned it on and I had gotten the notification that the the fucking Kraken had scored. So I was like, oh shit, yeah, the game's on. Okay, let me turn it on. And as I turned it on, the Hawks scored. And I was like, okay, 1-1, nice and easy. I turned it off for about 10 minutes and then came back and it was 3-1. And I was like, oh, interesting. What the hell is happening? And that's when I messaged our group, like, hey, what's going on like in the game? And as soon as I said that, they scored a fourth goal. And I was like, what is fucking happening? Because that's 4 goals on 5 shots. The Hawks end up pulling Mrazek, and Stalock comes in, and people like to be like, oh, like it's tough because he's cold. He sat out for half a period. I don't know. Like I don't know,
He had warm
like,
ups. He was good to go.
Yeah, it's not like he's coming in like in the start of the third or something.
Yeah.
First shot on net against Stalock goes in. And I'm just like, there's no way this is happening. 7th shot of the period, 6th goal, the very next one. And I'm just like, this is a joke, right? Like they couldn't do anything. Like he was just it was just the weirdest situation I've ever seen in my life. And then of course, like I was like, I know the second he makes a save, the stadium's gonna go crazy. And of course they did.
Yeah.
Because like that's what fans do, to be assholes.
That's our Stanley Cup right there. We made a save. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Can you imagine being a Montreal Canadiens fan and that happening, and your goalie is Carey Price or Patrick Waugh?
Well, actually, on Reddit, or I forgot where I was reading it, somebody was like showing the video of the standing ovation after Stalock made the save. And somebody, I think it was a Montreal, he goes, yeah, I'm from Montreal. I go, I don't see anything weird about this.
Weird. It's like such a dick thing to do. And your own goalie. Also, the team's not good, but like the guy that you're cheering for making a save is the only one that's been playing. Like, has like most of the wins on the team.
Has 8 of the 11 wins on this team.
So fucking weird. Just, I mean, I don't know what was happening for like the first 3 goals, but like the Burakovsky goal, like I could not blame Mrazek for that because he got fed the puck like in tight and just roofed it. And it was just like, okay, like that's nasty. I mean, Tolvanen, for whatever reason, Nashville put him on waivers. Seattle picked him up, and he's basically, I think, just under a point per game in Seattle right now.
Dave Cole talking about that. He goes, if this ends up being he ends up having an amazing career, he goes, or something. I forgot what the exact terminology he used, but he's like, that's on me.
That's on me.
That's on me.
He's got 7 points in 9 games in Seattle right now. It's weird. Like ever since they picked him up, they haven't lost a game.
Well, the funny thing is,
not picked him up. Sorry. Ever since he started playing.
Yeah, because I was thinking
he's been in the lineup.
Playing for a little bit.
Yeah, true. I don't know, man. And then Jared McCann, which I just found out has like the highest shooting percentage in the league right now. Like for eligible like players, he's got 27.8 shooting percentage. It's so funny to me. Like sometimes when like, like watching this game and seeing like Jared McCann gets like a hat trick, he leads the team in Seattle with like 22, 23 goals, or I think that was his 22 goals. And then like I'll like look through social media and see like, like people's quotes on like random shit and stuff. And it's like, oh, Jared McCann having a breakout season, like for Seattle, like he's on pace for 44 goals right now. It's like, I mean, it's not like he's scoring like a goal a game,
right? Or
like every other game. It's like he just got 3. Like he's a little streaky. also this was like an 8-goal fucking game. This is like a 1980s game.
Yeah.
Like, this is like no one playing defense. Goalies can't make a save.
The fact that they only lost by 3
Right?
is insanity to me. I think the big key.
They won the second period, man. 1-0.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the highlight of the game was Isaac Phillips' first career goal.
Hey, yeah, bud. He is looking so comfortable, and it was weird. I was just watching that part of the game, and then like I see him get the breakout going in the defensive zone, and he takes off up the ice, and I was like, oh shit, he's about to get this back and fucking do something. Calls for it from Jason Dickinson. He feeds him just past it, and he's like in between the hash marks, like basically same level as the defenseman. Like he just blew past everybody and just fucking throws a backhand far side. And I was just like, okay, Isaac Phillips, you got this. You can do this.
He had
so I'm all about it.
He had the second most ice time to that game.
Did he really?
Yeah, 19 minutes and 39 seconds. That was behind Seth Jones's 23:43.
He was only a -1 as well. Jake McCabe was an even player in an 8-goal game. And you know what's even more impressive about that too is like the Hawks went 2 for 2 on the power play, so there's only 3 chances to be a plus.
Connor Murphy and Jack Johnson -4 for that game.
Well, you know what else is crazy too? Adam Larson +7, Vince Dunn +6. Jesus, do you think they found a matchup that they liked, or what was going on there?
They were both +6 through that first period, I think.
Yeah, I picked up Vince Dunn in my fantasy league, and I was a +6 at the end of the night. I was like, okay, thanks, Vince.
God, that's insanity.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's pretty much how that game. I mean, Dome gets another goal on the power play. Taylor Radish got another goal on the power play. Kane scores with 15 seconds left. So maybe we don't trade Kane. I mean, we're 3-0 without him, and then he comes back and they get their dicks kicked in. So maybe Kane isn't the. I mean, maybe Kane is the. I don't know. What's the solution? The problem? I don't know.
Maybe Kane's the problem that we need.
Problem we need. Yeah.
I'm thinking, what's going to happen if we do trade Kane. The best opportunity to do that is to take a player back and just fill that roster spot rather than bringing Lucas Reichel up.
100%.
Instead of like trading Kane for just purely picks.
Yeah.
Kane for picks and someone that fills a roster spot for the end of the rest of the season. And right. That way, like Reichel doesn't come up, and we don't have like a really good chance at winning games.
They're 3-0 with Reichel in the lineup. They send him down to make room for Kane, and then they go 0-1.
3-1 with Reichel in the lineup.
I was talking about this last stint. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Let's specify that.
Well,
sorry. The last.
Did he only play 3 games? I thought he played 4.
He got set. He played.
Okay.
Against the Arizona.
Okay.
And he got sent down before I think it was a Thursday or Friday. He got sent down.
Okay.
After the Colorado game, he got sent down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
that's just What a wild game that is, though.
And you want to talk about how the team viewed this game? Coach Richardson said that he didn't even bother showing tape from this game because he wants it so far out of everybody's mind.
Yeah, man. I mean, what are you going to learn? Like there was, I don't know if it was defensive breakdowns or just getting caught flat-footed. Like the first goal I don't know if it was the first or if it was the second one that he let in, but it just like trickled through his 5-hole. It's just like you see him just go like, oh, it's just one of these days.
Yeah.
That like you can get 90% of the puck and it's gonna go in somehow. I mean, after the fucking goal bonanza of 6 in 7, they finished the rest of the game pretty okay.
Yeah.
They got within 3. They gave up 2 kind of quick ones. But then they scored 2 more. I don't know, man. Like they still put up 5 goals. Boston didn't score the day before or something. Or the previous game against them. So
we're better. We're better than Boston.
That's true. It's true. We both lost, but we scored more goals, so therefore we are better.
So, all right. So looking at this week,
Oh, also that was their seventh of 7 wins on the
yeah,
road. And first time in NHL history to sweep a 7-game road trip.
that's stupid. That is
Just talk about Seattle for a second. Like, they just delayed their Vegas season by a year, basically, where they are now having guys like perform like way better than they were expected. This is exactly what Vegas had, like in their first year, where it's just like guys having career years, but they're just clicking so well. It's
just snapped their
it's
8-game
insane.
winning streak yesterday too against Tampa. Tampa Bay beat
Oh,
them
yeah.
4-1, but they're still now they're second place in the Pacific.
Yeah, and like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? They were sitting outside
Yeah,
the
sitting outside.
playoffs.
So like there, it's like that's just right there proof that how tight the West is.
Mm-hmm.
Is like you were 1 week, 2 weeks away of good hockey from being back in playoff contention.
Yeah.
Like it's insanity.
Well, yeah, they just went on a heater and fucking brought themselves back in.
They're technically tied. Oh no, because they got 3 games in hand on LA and point
Mm-hmm.
percent and all that, but still 8-2 in their last 10. Jesus.
Yep.
Vegas and Seattle, the top of the Pacific, man. Expansion hockey.
Hey, that's why they got the Winter Classic next year.
Yeah, right. I'm actually really pumped for that one.
If they do legit form like a rivalry, that'd be kind of insane.
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't go Seattle, Vancouver, but I guess they rather have 2 decent teams, and then Vancouver in that shit show right now.
I mean, they don't really ever put like Canadian teams in the Winter Classic.
It's true. Montreal, I think, was the only one against
Boston,
Detroit.
Detroit. What
No,
did they?
no, it was Toronto versus Detroit.
Yes. Oh
And,
yeah, they did have
and Ann
Toronto.
Arbor. Yeah, because they had those. They had the blue and red jerseys. It was like sick. I don't know why they don't do more color matchups like that. But I don't know. 3 stars of the week for those 2 games. I think the obvious one, number 1 star, Isaac Phillips, first career goal.
Oh yeah, he had a goal and an assist.
Yep. Then the 2 players I have here, we'll see if you agree or disagree, and you can tell me if you agree with the order. I have second star, Taylor Radish, who went 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, led the team in points that over those 2 games. And then I have
Wait, did he have 2 goals against Colorado?
things. No, he had
No,
one.
he had one. He had one. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. He had one. I didn't see that he scored the 4th against Seattle.
Yeah. And then I have Toews, who had 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points. Good for like tied for second on the team.
Yeah, why
Keep it
not?
simple. All right.
Or Jared McCann, like he had a great game. 3 goals.
Speaking of Jonathan Toews, so he was sitting there talking with NBC Sports Chicago, just talking about the season and how he sees the future. And the harsh reality is setting in. So here's what his quote is: "There's a part of myself that still doesn't really want to admit the situation, also wants to continue being a Blackhawk, finish my career here. But at the same time, there's part of me that sees the writing on the wall and sees this team, this organization is trying to hit the reset button. And that maybe a change for everybody is not such a bad thing. And that goes for myself as well. For myself, it's just a kind of a tricky situation. The last year of my contract, I haven't played my best hockey in some time, so I'm not sure the opportunities or what's going to come knocking, but there's no doubt in my mind. Again, I'm focused on my game, trying to improve every single day and trying to enjoy playing the game, being a Blackhawk as long as I can for however long that is while it still lasts." First off, breaks the heart because Toews and Kane were built up to be the next Stan Mikita, like the lifelong Blackhawk. When you think Blackhawk, you're going to think Stan Mikita, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews.
Mm-hmm.
And now, oof.
I mean, yeah, it's all right. It sucks, but I mean, dreams are dreams for a reason.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer though that it's like it made you play the what if game, kind of. Because you look at teams like Washington and Pittsburgh that have been able to keep Ovechkin his entire career, Crosby, Malkin, Chris Letang their entire career.
Here's the thing, though, too. If let's say the Hawks don't win the 3 Stanley Cups, but they stay real competitive all those years, Kane and Toews, do you think they get $10.5 million contracts?
So this kind of goes into my what if. It's my kind of is like, what if, and this is gonna go anti-Bowman again for me, but it's like, what if you had a GM who was more competent in what he was doing,
Yeah.
and didn't give out massive contracts with full no movement clauses just because he was being loyal to
Right.
players.
Right. What if you had I mean, I don't think this was talent maybe at the time, but what if you had a GM that actually qualified his RFAs in Dustin Byfuglien and like didn't have to give him like a crazy contract that it wasn't unnecessary?
Well, that was allegedly Bowman's doing, that he fucked
Was
up the
it?
paperwork on that.
The
That's
paperwork
I don't know.
wasn't filed.
Like, no, yeah, like I don't know that what level of truth that is, but that's like one of those rumors going around that it's like at the end of Talon's tenure because of that fuck up, and the fuck up came down to the assistant GM who was Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
So like that's I don't know how much truth is to that, but it's like it sucks because it's like you watch other teams that are able to. Granted, yeah, Toews and Kane probably shouldn't have gotten 10.5.
But no, I think that they deserve it.
No,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't know. It's that's what I'm saying with like the Crosby and Ovechkin situation is like at the time that they got those contracts, those two guys, Ovechkin hadn't won a Stanley Cup,
Right.
and Crosby only had one. So like if there was the opportunity to give somebody a really big contract, you give the two guys that won 3 cups together a big contract.
Fair.
And then once Ovechkin and Crosby already have like their lifelong fucking deals, which are kind of team friendly towards the end of them because it's 8.7 and like 9.
Yeah.
Like you're able to still build a complete roster around them because like they're still able to like fit more pieces in to like win those cups that came after the Hawks 2015 Cup.
This Seabrook contract alone,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how differently things played out if that contract ever gets signed.
Right. I feel like not only that, but like other moves of like keeping Saad instead of trading him to Columbus, and then also keeping Panarin instead of trading him for Saad, like things like that.
See, I think the Panarin though one, like people get pissed about that one. I still understand that one. There's
Right.
no way you were gonna have 3 players making 10 plus million.
But he wasn't.
But I'm saying though, his contract was coming up though to resign.
He spent like 2 or 3 years in Columbus.
Let's see here. Maybe I'm just
It was Saad had like just a longer term for like the same price. And they had already provenly won with him.
Rangers. That's what I'm like. Who am I looking for right now? The Rangers.
Yeah, man. It was Panarin had like a $6 million contract or some shit.
All right, so his entry level is 812.5 thousand
for like 2 years, right?
Yeah. So then in the 17-18,
He signed a 2-year deal.
2-year deal at 6 million. And then 18-19. Oh yeah, so
he
but still even
was it 20. So he signed this is also what's insane to me is that he signed the extension
mid-season
with Bowman in
mid-season.
2016.
December 28th, 2016.
They crumbled in the playoffs and he fucking traded him because Saad had a $6 million deal, but because 4 years.
Bowman had, oh my god!
This is what I'm telling you. We had Panarin at $6 million, and we traded him for Saad at $6 million. But Saad had a 4 years on his contract left versus Panarin's 2. We could have had Panarin for 2 extra years, and that would have been just insane. If Panarin even leaves after that, like that's understandable because he's making close to 12. But there was 2 more years of like that window
with Columbus, like an extension with Columbus. I totally missed that. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Bowman sucked.
Yeah. And the thing that's kind of funny about it too now is like a part of that trade too was Tyler Mott, and Tyler Mott is kind of like one of those guys that a lot of teams look for, who's like a third line guy that can play second line minutes every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like he undervalued a lot of younger players that weren't like first rounders. And then he also got rid of a lot of first rounders for guys he overvalued. Like trading Philip Deneau for like Dale Weiss and Thomas Fleischman. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. All this to say, it sucks. Like you play the what if game on all this, and realistically, we should be talking about the Nets contract that these guys are signing. That is probably going to be the last one for their career.
Maybe, unless they do that Joe Thornton, Patty Marlowe thing, where it's like, yeah, man, 1-year deals every year. I honestly could see Kane just playing like 6 more years at least.
Oh yeah, Kane, I can see. Toews, do you think he goes plays for like say Winnipeg or something for a couple seasons? Do you think
I can see him signing like a 3 or 4 year deal?
Do you think he comes out, plays a 1-year deal with Chicago, or does he do like a 1-day contract kind of thing, retire a Hawk?
I'd say depending on where the Hawks are sitting.
Yeah.
If the Hawks are in like we're in development mode rather than like rebuild, like we have the pieces that we want, I could see them signing Toews and being like, this is the guy that is gonna show our young guys like what it's like at that age to like grow into like a team that's going to be competing really soon.
Yo, bring them back for the first year that they're going to be competitive again and have him play third line center.
Yeah. I don't know why, but like for some reason it makes me think of like Dave Andrechuk on like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
When they won the cup.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so it kind of sucks. And now that we're at that halfway mark, you usually take like rumors with like a grain of salt, but now it's got to kind of be like, oh, well, there's smoke, there's fire kind of thing. You got to take all these rumors a little bit more seriously. Obviously, there's going to be ridiculous ones out there.
It's been nothing but rumors since preseason, like since that's the draft. Those are the ones that it's always the same shit. Yeah, and the other thing too,
seriously.
Well, the other thing too about the Toews comments, it's like, of course he's saying this. It's not anything I think that's new. It's stuff that he's kind of rehashed over the last year, and it's just he keeps getting asked this like on a weekly basis. It's just I'm sure he's fucking exhausted of it. Like a part of me, if I was in his like shoes, I'd be like, yes, just trade me so I can just stop hearing about this fucking shit. Yeah. Like I just want to play hockey. I want to play competitive hockey. Like that's all I want to do. Like I understand the team wants to lose. I love Chicago. I don't really want to lose, but I like being here and I like being a part of the organization. I also just don't want to fucking talk about this anymore.
This was probably the best like thought out way he's talked, because the ones before when he would talk about this, it was like, I don't know what, like I was gonna say, but I don't know what the fuck they're doing kind of thing. Like you're trading Hagel, you're trading like, he seemed very angry and all this kind of stuff. This is more like, okay, he's come to terms that.
Yeah, I think he maybe is like overvaluing what he can do on the ice currently, because it's like I could see him saying like, oh, how would you trade these kind of guys if you picture yourself as somebody that is like these pieces away that you just traded from like making the playoffs,
right?
Yeah. But like if he doesn't see that, like he's not the same Toews of like 2013, who's like just the most dominant center in the league. Like you got to kind of look at yourself and be like, yeah, maybe like I am not two or like one line mate, like one Hossa away from like leading this team to the playoffs.
All right, one last thing about this, and then we'll go. If say he doesn't get traded at the deadline, and they have intentions of re-signing him, what do you want that contract to look like?
3 years.
3 years
for Toews?
Yeah, over under $5 million.
I mean, because the Hawks don't have. Let me see what their cap is going to look like, because they have a handful of guys that are signed for next season, but those guys also might be getting traded, like Sam Lafferty, Jason Dickinson. I think has shown some decent value. Colin Blackwell, I like Colin Blackwell. Tyler Johnson, is probably, I don't know if he's going to be movable. I mean, unless 50% retained, he'll play a
He's only
year somewhere
retained 2
else.
contracts, right? Or is that just NHL the game?
No, I think that's true.
He'll retain X amount.
The other thing too about next year is Duncan Keith is only going to hit us for just under 2 million versus 5.5.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of cap. I mean, 3 years at 6 mil, but I still think that's kind of overvalued. But
I would say 3 years.
fair,
I would say like 5.5.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. But like, if you have the cap and you have the money to spend, just 6.
Yeah. Just to get to that cap floor.
Pretty much. Like, I don't think you're in danger of like not being able to utilize your cap space as like a trade weapon if you give Toews like 6 million.
Right.
The other thing though too is like, if you want to also sign Kane, I don't think you need to do the whole like, hey, matching deals kind of thing. Like, you're not
you
twins.
definitely you give Kane what he deserves type of thing. Like,
I don't see Kane still making under 10 million.
if he wants to stay in Chicago, he's gonna have to.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Instead of 21 million between the two of them, if you make it like 16, 17, I think that's fine.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about this every week until March 3rd anyway. So
I'm just hoping that I just really would love to see them stay as Hawks even after they get traded or like come back.
right. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be so fucking weird.
Yeah. Can you imagine seeing like Jonathan Toews in like a Boston Bruins jersey? Just wearing black and yellow instead of like red and red, black, and white.
God, I don't want this. I don't want that.
Bergeron and Toews on the same team would be
That'd be
disgusting.
God damn, right up the middle there. But
yeah, I can see Winnipeg though, just because of their playoff position right now, and like that would just solidify their center core like so much.
we talked about before, it's like a lot of these teams that are gonna trade for Toews, they're gonna put him at like a second or third line. Like he's not gonna be a top center. I think you can put him at a third line position, give him third line minutes where you
give him all the defensive face-offs. Like, you give him all the really important face-offs that you need to win, and he fucking wins them. And you're gonna be in a much better place, especially when you have the wingers like fucking, like Ellers and like Kyle Connor. Like, you don't have to exactly switch the lines up, but if you win a face-off and those guys are the ones that are gonna be taking the puck, like he face off and out. Like, that's all you have to do.
He's dangerous. Like, he is still a dangerous player in the right situation. And you just got to utilize him that way. But all right, let's wrap up Hawks talk here. We are halfway home to the end of the season. Lord help us. We are we are struggling along here. Hawks are currently 11-26-4 going into tonight's game against Buffalo. That record will obviously have changed once this comes out. Currently, they sit tied for their 10th worst in goals against. With I had it right here. They've given up 154 goals. They are tied with Columbus for 31st in the league on the worst goal differential at -60, and they are the only team in the NHL who has yet to score 100 goals this season, and they have only put up 94, which is not a surprise if you've been following this team this year. They have struggled offensively and have had no problem letting putts into the net. So going into the halfway mark of the season, Tanner, any surprises for you on the year? Good or bad, I guess.
Oh, I was going to say, like, my biggest surprise has been Stalock.
Yes.
I think he's just been it's crazy that like out of the games he's started, he's got 6 wins. So he's got like a 500% winning percentage, which is just so funny to me. On a team that's not doing well. Like, goaltending in general has been a pleasant surprise. Like, obviously we're losing games, but like you said, we don't score.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're just in these like huge battles of like losing game on like the Seattle one that we just talked about. Like we're not losing games like 8-5 normally. It's usually like about 3-2, 3, 4-1, something like that. And we're usually getting outshot by a fuckload. So like the goalies have been pretty solid, staying strong. Which has been, like I said, pleasant surprise, because I think we were expecting like, oh, like we're getting Mrazek, like we're gonna get blown the hell out. Like Stalock hasn't really played much in the last few years. We're
Stalock
gonna get
didn't even
blown the
know if he was
fuck
ever going
out.
to play again because of complications from COVID.
Dude,
Like
I'm loving Stalock.
he's a psychopath in all the right ways. Like you got
Um,
Binnington and then you got Stalock, like the two. And looking at his numbers really quick, I pulled it up. He's 6-6-1, so he's got a
yeah,
500 record
yep.
essentially. He a 918 save percentage and a 270 goals against average. That's fucking insane
On a last place team,
for
it's
how
really good.
bad this team is. That's nuts. That's the numbers he's putting up.
Some pleasant surprises, I think. Jared Tenorti, I think, has been one of the more pleasant surprises on the defensive end. He hasn't played that much, or he hasn't played recently because he's been injured. But like when he was out there, I think his max games played in the NHL was like 70 before this season. No,
No, that was way lower.
it was, well, no. Like in a season, it's 28 in Nashville, I think, but his total games played is like just over. It was like just over 100, and he's played 25 this year.
Yeah.
And I think him being a huge presence on the back end was really good, until obviously he got injured. But doubling his career goal total this year, I just think it was just really cool to see that as like a waiver pickup that we had like at the beginning of the season. Max Domi has had a stellar year so far, I think.
That's my number one right there.
And then
Surprise.
like quietly, Taylor Radish is he's just scoring. Like I don't know what it is. He's not flashy. He's just a finisher. He just gets in front and finishes. That's it. So that's always been good. And then I think even though it was very brief, the like Reichel and Kurashev connection, I'm excited to see more of, hopefully.
So I'm gonna take a different
Because I
approach.
think Kurashev only has like a year on his contract currently.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a different approach too with like a surprise for this. I'm pleasantly surprised with the way Kyle Davidson has stuck to his guns about letting these players develop. He could have easily
Yeah.
had Reichel up numerous times this year.
They actually interviewed Davidson. I forgot about that. In the Seattle game. They showed like why he, like what was the reason behind sending Reichel back down. And he was like, there's a development plan, a roadmap for him. And right now, like we were able to give him that opportunity of this top 6 minutes with Kane being out, but like, with Kane coming back, that's not part of the plan at this moment. And he knows that it's difficult for him to like kind of like be a part of this roadmap development plan, because like obviously he wants to be in the NHL. And he was saying, he's like, we have plenty of guys in that AHL team that like could probably play a lot of minutes in the NHL, but that's not part of the plan right now.
Yeah.
Like they're doing what they're doing in the AHL. They're in a playoff spot right now. Like that team is killing it. And so he was just like, this is what's going to happen though. Like he obviously looks like he can play in the NHL, but that's not what we're going to do.
Like, if you can't,
dude,
you can't guarantee him top 6 minutes. He's a top 6 type of player.
Yeah.
He's not going to do well in the bottom 6. And it's a nice change of pace. And it was kind of a nice, like, step back, like, oh, okay. We don't have another Bowman on our hands.
We're not rushing Adam Boqvist up into the lineup because we need an offensive defenseman to produce. We're not putting Kirby Dach in immediately because he's the most NHL ready prospect that we have. And it's just, yeah, dude, like take the time.
You're letting him develop. You're giving him his taste. The kid's 20 years old.
Yep.
He has got plenty of time to make a difference in this league and for this team. And just the fact that they're sticking to their gun just makes me so pleasantly surprised. Because like I said, up until the fact that he proved me wrong, Kyle Davidson was a Stan Bowman guy. He learned to understand. That was the guy who gave him his opportunity and all this kind of stuff. So now that opportunities have come up where Stan would go one path, and now Davidson's going the other way, it makes you breathe a little bit easier knowing that, you know what, the mistakes we made in the past in the organization are not gonna hopefully be the mistakes we make in the future, and that these kids are gonna have the chance to become a better player and NHL ready and make a difference when they're supposed to.
I'm just thinking about wait until the off season when it's like all of a sudden guys are trying to shed cap. We're like, yo, give us your Marc-Andre Fleury,
Yeah.
Tyler Johnson. Like with the off season.
That's different. That's a different situation. We're taking on cap and we're gonna get more out of it too. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like we're
so
gonna
funny.
get picks out of that and prospects and all that kind of stuff.
I just
Now,
yeah.
if we get Bedard and then all of a sudden he's like 100 or 10 million to this guy, 10 million to this guy, let's go. And then I'm gonna be like, okay,
Hey,
whoa, let's pump the brakes.
Here's the thing though, if we get Bedard and he starts making deals and all of them are 3 years or less, great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Because as soon as Bedard's deal is coming up, then it's like, yeah, we better make sure we have the cap space to actually have this team ready.
Yeah, because you're just buying time right now for the Nazar, the Korchinski, El Mastros. Like you're buying time at this point.
Yeah.
And you're letting them develop so that core is ready.
But that's not even necessary at this point too.
Right.
Man, I'm excited.
Yeah.
The other thing too was during like the intermissions, I think like Colby Cohen was actually bringing it up. It was like just to hammer the point in of Kyle Davidson doing the right thing. It's like even on those nights that Reichel was playing really well in the NHL, he was only playing 14 minutes a night versus in the AHL, they were like, yeah, he just played 20 minutes like the night before. Like he's not getting 20 minutes of ice time in the NHL. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter that he's playing well. It's like that's not going to be something that they're going to do for him at this moment. Plus, it wouldn't make sense for him to play 20 minutes in the NHL and like possibly risk getting hurt,
right,
on a team that's going to be not competing.
Through the 4 games that he played this season so far, he's averaged 14 minutes and 28 seconds of ice time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good for short spurts, but yeah, for good development, you need to be until you're able to do like 16 to 20 minutes, give or take. That's probably until you can offer that, you got to just keep him down.
Yeah.
MVP for the Hawks so far, in your opinion? I know it's kind of hard, but
it's hard not to just say Kane, or Domi, I guess. There really isn't like anything too crazy. Reese Johnson, just heart and soul guy. I don't know. Like Stalock was hurt for a long time. It's probably just Kane, just because like he still does like Kane things. It's hard to not be like, yeah, he's clearly still the best player. I was gonna say for you, like, who do you think is the biggest disappointment? But first, who do you think is your MVP?
So I was gonna probably give it to Stalock.
MVP. Okay.
Yeah, just because I mean, we have 11 wins and he's got 6 of them.
Yeah.
Like, he is making this. He's entertaining. He's keeping these games close. How many games we've talked about this year that this team had no business being in, and it stayed close because of him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's got to be the MVP.
Yeah, I would say that's a good call.
Disappointment. I'm gonna say it's Seth Jones is one up there for me.
Yeah.
Being a Seth Jones, like we were all for this team getting Seth Jones, and we wanted Seth Jones, and we stood by Seth Jones, and he's just. I don't know what it is. It's just he cannot. I don't know if it's not the team isn't built for him to succeed and do great stuff or be the defenseman that he could potentially be, that I think he has potential to be. Like, is he a guy that needs to be on a very good hockey team?
Yeah, I don't know.
He can't be relied on. Like the team, he's not the guy that you want to lean on. Basically,
I don't think so. Yeah,
he's a secondary act, I think.
If there was somebody that was basically his complete opposite on his defensive pairing that covered all the faults, I'm sure he would shine. Like, it's one of those things where like he's kind of asked to do everything. He plays lots of minutes, and he's not able to kind of do his best at what he is best at, because he
Yeah.
has to kind of do everything. If there was somebody to complement him and like pick up the slack for like the things that he doesn't do as great, and he could just focus on the thing that he does amazingly, I'm sure he would look a lot better. But like this team doesn't have that.
Right. And it just blows my mind that he's been playing with McCabe a lot this year, and McCabe is still a +4.
Yeah, that's because they gave up shorthanded goals.
True.
Biggest disappointment. I mean, Caleb Jones, I think, is just not the guy, dude. The thing about him is like there's times where I was like, oh yeah, like he's looking really good, and then there's a lot of like more recent times where I'm just like, he's trying to do things that he can't do.
Yeah.
And then he's also just caught standing and watching the play like in his defensive zone.
This is the perfect
like,
example of, hey, I can come, but I need to bring my brother too. If he can come, I can come. But if my brother can't come along, I can't do it.
Mackenzie Entwistle also, I don't even know when he plays. He's played 35 games. I have no idea. I don't even know when
Boris
he is on the ice.
Boris
is noticeable because he turns the puck over. But and like he also crashes the boards in like the corners. But like Mackenzie Entwistle has played 35 games. I could not tell you what he's done at any point, like notably well or notably bad. Like
I'm shocked he's got 5 points.
Yeah, exactly.
We were saying this before we started recording. Like we were talking about players because we were talking about Ben Eager and how he got traded for, was it Vanderbush we traded or something?
Tim Vandermeer.
And we're like, oh man, I completely forgot he was on the Hawks. And you could, from that time, from like early 2000s to like mid 2000s, you could tell me anybody played for the Hawks and I would believe you because couldn't tell you like really who was on that team. And you said
that wasn't the core. And then I mentioned that is where we are currently.
Yes.
Because you're going to look at like what guys were on the Hawks 6 years from now for this year, and you can be like, oh yeah, I forgot we had fucking Caleb Jones. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot we had Athanasio.
I forgot we even had Kara. I just looked that he just popped up there. I forgot he was on this team.
I like Jujar Kara though.
I do like him. I keep forgetting we have Tyler Johnson a lot.
Well, Tyler Johnson's like hurt most of the time.
True.
But he at least like has an impact offensively. He has 10 points in 18 games. That's pretty fucking good for this team that's like point deficient.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Clearly I was gonna say, what do you expect going forward? But I think it's a clear cut sign that it's gonna get a lot worse because once this team gets traded.
Oh yeah.
Anybody that can be traded will be traded. You know it. And
anybody that has any value. Like I'm sure like if somebody's like, hey, I'll give you like a 6th. Yeah, okay. like that's great. Sounds good. Do you want to give me a bad contract and turn that 6th into a 4th? Like, great. Do it. Like gamble as much as you want on this draft because this draft has been touted as one of the deepest ones.
This is
what with how highly sought after like the guys at the top are, and even the first round, you're telling me that there's not going to be like some fucking gems that are just being overlooked in the later rounds too. Like this draft is going to probably be sick.
Are you telling me that this is going to be the 2003 draft of the future?
Hey, what happened in it's the 2023 draft, so it's just 20 years later. That's all it is. It's the same thing. Like who was on the Hawks in 2003? Cam Barker. It was Andreas Athanasio. Equivalent. So I'm sure there was like if you could tell me anybody on the Hawks at that point, like great.
Jamnov still on that team?
He might have been. It might have been
last year.
Yeah, 0304.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the same shit. It's going to be a bunch of guys that are going to be on the move, not going to be here 2-3 years down the road. And
all right, I'm going to pull this. I know we're kind of going long and we got some things going here with NHL Talk, but I want to pull up this roster and I just want to see if you can name 5
2000 Is it the 2002, 2003 team?
03-04 team.
Oh, 03, 04. So this would be like next year's 20-year anniversary
Yeah.
team.
So following up like the draft.
Oh, I mean, I know Seabrook was drafted, but I don't know if he played right away. I don't think he did.
No.
And Keith was drafted, but he didn't play till like 2005, I think. Adrian O'Coin.
Yes.
Or
Wait,
Marty.
wait. No, that's wrong.
Is it? Damn.
Yeah.
Marty Lapointe. When was Amante traded? Or did he trade?
I think it was the year before it. Yeah.
So is Jamnoff on that team? Were we right about that?
Jamnoff was on this team.
Did they have Peter Bondra?
No, not yet. That was later down. 500 goal scorer Peter Bondra. Nobody acknowledged that when we were talking about 500 goal scores automatically get you to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I don't know who's on that team. I have no idea.
All right. So our leading scorer that year with 55 points.
Eric Daze.
Tyler Arneson.
Oh, Tyler Arneson. Okay. Yeah.
Second goal scorer or point getter with 47 points. Brian Bedard.
Berard.
Mark Bell. Tomo Rutu.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Sullivan. Kyle Calder.
Yeah, now it's ringing a bell.
Nathan Dempsey.
Yeah.
Scott Nickel. Al Jamnoff. Robidas. Stefan Robidas. Eric Daze. Our goalie. Who was our goalie that year?
I have no idea.
6 of them.
I have zero clue. I don't know.
Craig Anderson.
Okay, yeah.
22-year-old Craig Anderson. Michael Layden, Jocelyn Tebow, Steve Passmore, Anna Monroe, and Matt Underhill.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I've never heard that name before in my life.
He played 1 game, and it was a loss. We were 20, 51, and 11 that year. Oh, I'm sorry, 20, 43, 11, and 8 for 59 points. This is when ties were still a thing. That's crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, we're on pace for that type of season here. So
it's a very forgettable one.
Yeah, we will see what happens, and that it's very forgettable with 2 of the most memorable or iconic players in this franchise history. That's what's crazy to me. All right, moving over to NHL talk. Halfway point. It's a little bit past the halfway point for the rest of the league as well, but we're still going to give out halfway awards. So we're going to get out the Hart, the Norris, and the Vezina. Where do you want to start?
Norris, Erik Karlsson, easy pick. Even though he's a -6, he's on a terrible team. He's got 58 points in 45 games. He's so good. He's almost at assist per game. And I got that beautiful jersey now because of him. He's so good, dude. I really hope that like this is him like back. Like he is back because he's so fucking awesome to watch play hockey.
He better be back, especially if San Jose thinks that they're going to trade him for 3 first-round picks and only retain 18% of his salary.
Hey man, you get a $9.5 million Karlsson for 4 years, and if he's playing at this level, it's very worth it. Would you rather have a Erik Karlsson at 9.5 for 4 more years, or Seth Jones at 9.5 for 4 more years? Just 4. Just 4.
I would rather have an EK65, but I'm not giving up 3 first rounds for him.
Oh no. What if we gave up just Seth Jones?
Yeah, straight up.
That's it.
Have to sweeten that deal a little bit. I think if they get that, there's going to be some heavy conditions on 2 of those later first rounds. I think there's going to have to be
just probably top 10 protected.
There's got to be something, because like I said, my biggest thing with it is I hope he's back, and I hope this is just the start of him, like his great comeback story. But one good season, you're gonna expect that much of a return on him. To me, that's too much of a gamble. I mean, obviously
I
it's
see.
their starting point. And it's
Here's
just
the thing: is I don't see it as one good season. I see it as him being the guy again. This is the first season without Brent Burns.
true. Fair.
It's him being the guy. Like, if you need somebody to create this offense, and like that's the thing. Like they were sharing between the two of them, Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson. They were still putting up points, but they weren't the same when it was Karlsson in Ottawa and Brent Burns in San Jose, both being Norris fucking trophy candidates because they're putting up like point per game seasons. Like now they're separated again, and he's going back to a point per fucking game season. Like he's so worth it, dude. Like
I don't know. I'm still kind of would be hesitant on that. And I'm going with my Norris for the true definition of it as the best defensive defenseman.
Jake McCabe.
Yeah. Rasmus Dahlin. He is having a great offensive year, and he's also plus 16 right now.
Oh, really?
He's finally turning it up and kind of turn into that player that I think Buffalo's expecting once they drafted him. What
Isn't he only like 22 years old?
He's young, I think.
How many points does he have right now?
48.
48.
He's 22, yeah. So it's like,
yeah, 13 goals, 35 assists.
And again, use that as a perfect example of why you don't rush these prospects, because 22, 23, 24, that's like the age group for defensemen to really come into their own. And it's showing right here. All right, let's switch over to let's go with let's go with Vezina, just because we'll keep the offense for last, but I think this one is
I think this is an easy one.
Oh yeah. I think it's already won, and there's no even reason to even nominate two other people for this one.
Yeah, Linus Ullmark is having the most insane season.
It's stupid. 23, 2-1, 936 save percentage, 192 goals against average, only 2 shutouts, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised by that stat, but it's unreal. Like in a year that seems like goaltending is taking such a step back, it just feels like there's not there's obviously good goalies, but it doesn't feel like how it's been before, where you're like, oh shit, these guys are awesome. Like we talk about this with our fantasy league. It's like we each got one goalie that we're confident in, and everybody else is kind of like we're trying to figure out who we can have for that second guy, trying to find somebody to fill in. But
it's always rotating, and like every Sunday, it's like I gotta drop somebody for whoever's fucking playing, basically.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I think it's absolutely insane. And then there's really, like I said, there's no reason to.
I mean, the second half of the season can completely change things, but right now, like he's running away with it. But if you
Hellebuck too,
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like Connor Hellebuck has more of a history of playing really well for the whole season. Boston has kind of just been on this unreal tear for the whole first half of the season. If they keep it up, like obviously, like they're going to be like cup favorites, but it's been half a season. It's going to be real hard to keep that kind of shit going. Like he's only got 2 losses in regulation.
Something's gonna happen. Yeah, something's gonna happen.
Right.
But
he's never performed this well before, so like water always finds its level. So who knows? Maybe the second half of the season, like he completely eats it and has a Bennington style season. Fucking goes 2-23 instead, and all of a sudden he's like 500. I don't know.
I think they need to really maybe let Swayman take a couple more starts here and there, and not try to overload him going into the play. You know what I'm saying? Like up a little bit, because I mean even Swayman, he has got a 10-3-3 record, 912 save percentage, and 235 goals against average. Like that's a fucking great 1-2 right there.
He started the season pretty poorly. That's why they really were relying on fucking Ullmark for a long time, and he still kind of has been like the most reliable. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. Just like if he keeps it up, that's like an insane season, but I don't think it will happen just because he's never done it before.
Yeah.
And nobody really expected it.
All right, Hart.
McDavid. It's like I don't know how you say anyone else besides Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
He's already got 83 points. It's fucking stupid.
Here's my question though. Let me ask you this and kind of go back to the EK65 conversation. He's doing I'm trying to think of like how to say this.
Yeah.
What McDavid is doing is what's expected. McDavid's doing McDavid things, you know?
He's shooting 20% right now.
It's fucking ridiculous.
183 shots and shoots 20%.
Is it McDavid's doing McDavid things? Erik Karlsson is doing ridiculous shit on a team that is not competing.
Yep.
And it's like, at what point does Hart does go to the player that means the most to his team?
Yeah. Karlsson also only has 2 less assists than McDavid right now.
Right. Like
on a team that is not doing well.
If Edmonton lost McDavid, they still have Draisaitl.
Yeah.
If San Jose lost Karlsson, who do they got? I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Like it's an interesting. To me, it's an interesting way to look at the Hart Trophy too, because it's like
it's always an argument against McDavid because he's always the best.
Right. And it's just interesting to see like the whole take. It's like it goes to the Norris stuff. It's like yeah, best player in the league, but it's like that's not the award. It's the player, the best player, the player that does the
most valuable to their team.
Yeah, that's it. That's the Hart. I get it, but I mean, I totally understand. Like, I mean, Jason Robertson is another player.
H. Thompson.
H. Thompson, yeah. Like, there's so many players that are their teams would not be near where they're at if it wasn't for those guys. Even Mikko Rantanen, I know he's 10th in the league in points, but it's like without him and him having a solid season, Colorado's fucked.
Yeah, they have a much like steeper hill to climb.
Food for thought. I mean, not saying I agree with you 100%. It's McDavid. McDavid's 100% the MVP or Hart Trophy, but just food for thought. I don't know. Interesting, but
like I mean, I don't think there's a chance that he ends up. I mean, I guess there is a chance that he ends up not getting the Rocket too, because Pastrnak has 2 fewer goals. But man, if McDavid hits 60, like I think that's such a possibility. 45 games played right now at 37 goals.
So stupid. So stupid.
It's the dumbest thing is like he's one just good game away from getting like 5 extra points. And it's so possible.
How many games has him and Draisaitl put up 6+ points this year?
Oh, I don't know.
There's been a handful of them.
Like I don't know if it was 4, but it was McDavid has the same amount of games with 0 points as he has with like 4 points or something like that this year. Like it's something stupid. It's so dumb.
All right.
Jesus.
Surprises or like a storyline that you've been really enjoying this season?
Surprises. I mean, Boston's a huge surprise. It seems like it was just going to be like their last dance, and like they are really fucking tearing it up. As much as I hate to say it,
hell of a way to go out if it is their last dance.
Yeah, the thing that makes me happy is the fact that Pasternak's doing so well, and he's in a career year, and like this could end up like if you don't want to pay this guy, like he is going to have 31 teams going to offer him as much as they possibly can. Like
every 3 goals he scores, I'm like, oh, that's another 0 to his contract coming up.
Right. He's 3rd in the league right now in points, tied with Nikita Kucherov, who is criminally underpaid, but because he's in Tampa, like it sucks. Like that's how that works. So, oh my God, like I don't see how he makes like anything less than 12. So that's great. I don't know, like
mentioned earlier, Winnipeg,
Florida, it just being like a fucking flop this year has been pretty
a huge surprise. I thought they were going to put up a little bit more of a fight.
I mean, New Jersey just still being competitive. Started the season really strong. Still
one point behind Carolina for that division spot. Holy
Yeah,
shit, yeah.
Carolina's solid. Well, that's also because Jack Hughes is on a fucking tear right now.
They've won 5 in a row right now. Toronto just quietly just sticking around the top 5 in the league.
That's all they need to do.
Like,
They don't need to be making headlines every week. They honestly like their their offense is spread. It's not like, oh, how many goals is Austin Matthews going to score this year, because he's not even like in the top 5 in goals right now. They're pretty evenly spread points wise with like their top guys. They're doing what they need to do right now.
yeah.
Trying to look at what I think Jack Hughes has something ridiculous of like 19 points in his last like 10 games or something, like 20 plus points in his last 10 games.
He's so good, man.
Yeah, he's
Like we've said this before, man, the future of hockey is in such good hands, and I am so excited to just see where this game goes and just feel absolutely shitty about myself for never coming close to the skill level of people playing hockey. Um, yeah, I think you hit it on the head with all the surprises and storylines. A couple quick notes, real quick, and we're gonna wrap this up here. Ovechkin,
Yep.
it's goal number 30 on the season.
Why is that significant?
The 17th time in his career that he scored 30 goals.
It's wild.
Fucking stupid stats.
Yeah. He's tied for the, I guess, like career most seasons with 30 goals right now at 17 with Mike Gardner. So if he does it again next year, which is, I mean, very likely because he's hit 30 in basically half a season this year, has a chance of hitting fucking 50 again.
He's legit going to get close enough where we're all gonna sit here all next season. Huh. He might break it this year.
Yeah.
He's gonna be that asshole.
if he like honestly, if he starts the season out with like 6 goals in 4 games, it's gonna be like, oh, he's going to do it.
He's at 810 right now with 30.
So he needs 85.
36 games to play this year.
And if he hits 50, so he's at 810. So he hits 20 more. He's gonna be 830. So he needs, would that be 65 goals next year? That's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be rough, but at the same time, because it's Ovechkin, people are gonna be like, it's possible.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm sticking with my early 24-25 season. I think it's happening early on then. Be sick if it was against like Edmonton or New York or LA or something like that against one of his Gretzky's old teams. But
he only had 1 season of less than 30, and it's because it was the shortened fucking season. How dumb, how stupid is that shit, man? Like, he could have had this already. He has been screwed so much because his draft year got pushed back 1. He has 3 shortened seasons now. God, he could have fucking had it already. I guarantee it.
100%.
He scores 52 in his rookie year. You're telling me he doesn't score at least like 40 if he starts a year sooner?
Oh, dude, yeah. He's breaking the record this year. Maybe, yeah, maybe even
it would have
last
been broken already because you'd have that extra 3 shortened seasons played full out or played completely. Like, Jesus.
Other notes: David Krejci, 1,000 NHL games played.
Yeah.
I think he's the 13th Czech-born player to do that.
That's pretty good. You'll start to probably see a lot more of that. There's a lot of highly touted Czech guys right now. Like,
yeah. Pavel Zacha was saying his parents texted him, "Oh yeah, we're watching the game today," and he was like, "Oh, that's awesome." He goes, "Yeah, I mean, it's not often you get to see 1,000 games played by a Czech player." So Pavel Zacha's parents were even watching for Krejci, not for their son, which is hilarious to me.
That's really funny.
And the last thing I have on my list here is the most like what the fuck headline ever.
Okay, wait.
What?
Evander Kane, he's playing tonight.
Is it for sure? Because I know that there was a question, but
I thought I saw that he like was.
Is it confirmed? Okay, maybe NHL just didn't update their shit.
I thought he was practicing. Let's see. Yeah, Yeah, he's activated from LTIR.
So he'll be playing today.
It's just so weird.
They were originally saying middle March.
2 months. 2 months or 9 weeks. That's crazy.
That's nuts. And then okay, so the last thing that I have here is came out that Robin Lehner had to file bankruptcy because of debts owed due to his exotic snake farm.
Yes.
Fucking goalies, man. What is wrong with you guys?
Did you hear? I had read like other things about it. You want to know what else is kind of like even weirder about this situation?
What's that?
So he had agreed to make this purchase from a person, and he was going to do like $100,000, like I think it was like monthly payments. And the guy that he was buying these exotic snakes from ended up getting murdered by his wife. And then Robin Lehner was like, "Oh, I guess I don't have to pay this guy anymore," and got sued.
What
And the wife is like, and then that wife is like in prison. It's just it's like some Tiger King type fucking shit, dude. Like,
Jesus Christ, what the hell? What is wrong with goalies, man? Why can't you guys just be normal? God.
because where would the fun be in that, dude?
I forgot who said in our friend chat, but Brett Burns definitely should have been a goalie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But all right. So this is a long episode, but episode 209, what are we calling it?
Halfway to Bedard.
Halfway to Bedard. All right, I like it. All right, so make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, social media at WCB Podcast. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
All right, likewise. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WCB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast. To connect with Jarom and Tanner, check out the boys at WCB Podcast on all social media. We'll see you next time.